Howdy, it's Matt, and in this quick video we are going to be discussing how the CAA are about to shoot themselves in the feet. Now, I did do a 20-minute episode on this and I felt it was a bit ranty, so this is the short version. The short version is that over the next 2 to 3 years they're going to make a massive screw up. The writing's on the wall, so what am I talking about? So, if you didn't know this, in short, there's an important update from the BMFA, who act really surprised that they were excluded from a very long document, which the CAA have basically said, we're going to go ahead with this, and all this stuff is just basically politeness to show that they're going for a process. It's going to happen. You don't like it. I don't like it. Everybody doesn't like it. But there's money involved, and they are going to like that. So this is to do with the drone registration scheme, and we'll ignore the bollocks at the beginning and we'll just get down to the end, okay? And at the end is that this is the piece which they're looking at, and they are doing references to fishing licenses, driving licenses, passports, my mobile phone which won't shut up, shotgun licenses and other licenses. And let's be fair, I'm sure some of you have been out there and you go fishing. And that's the thing, is that you can sit on the bank, you pay, in my case it would probably be bloody 82 quid a year, and then you get the bloody water bait. But no apologies for the language, it's just the way it is. I'd have to pay my licence, then I'd have to pay the fees to, and then maybe a day ticket as well to fly, to fish at a Pacific pond or lake or something like that. And then we're bound to get a water bailiff come round. They're not daft, they go to all the popular places, don't they? And then check everybody's rod license and day tickets, etc, etc. So that's their reference. Now, I did mention the CAA are kind of setting themselves up for failure. And why are they setting themselves up for failure is because I'm scrolling up here looking for the value of 170,000 registrations. That's the number which they're looking for. And they are looking to charge each individual pilot £16.50. Now, this is where things are a little bit flawed. Now, I didn't write this. This comes from Ian Lonsdale from one of the model flying clubs, who's been and summarised this, so I'm pretty sure these numbers are right. They kind of know what they're talking about, which is the BMFA membership is about 36,000, FPV UK is about 4,000, and the Large Model Association is about 5,000. So there's about a minimum of 45,000, and then plus 20,000 drone operators. That seems a bit high to me, but we'll roll with it. So it's about 60,000 per year, so they're short by about 20,000. So the CAA are already overestimating the number of people which are going to register. Now, that is absolutely key. Keep that in the back of your mind. They are overestimating, not underestimating, and this is where we are going to potentially end up paying more. Well, no, it's a basic fact. They screwed their numbers up. We're going to pay more because they're pissing money up the tree. We'll get to that very vital point in just a moment. So let's just think about this for a few moments, okay? They're going to introduce this new registration process, the more barriers to entry which you put into a process, the less number of people go through the process. Think about Amazon's shopping cart, for example. I'm sure many of you buy on Amazon. You can do the little one swipe on your phone now. Ordered, here next day. Piece of pee. You don't get that on eBay, and I wonder which one's winning. Is it Amazon or is it eBay? Which one's made the customer's life, your life, easier to order a product? Yeah, kind of glaringly obvious. So with that reference in mind, is that they're suggesting 170,000. In reality, it's about 65,000, so they're 20,000 short. Then you have to account for the number of people which frankly won't bother, which will probably be myself as well. And the reason for that is because if I was a member of a normal club, and we're going out there every Saturday morning, well, that's going to be like the water bailiff who goes to the pond or the lake, who goes and checks the rod licenses and go and checks the day tickets and things like that. And by the way, I know they're two different roles, but you kind of get my point. The water bailiff goes to the popular places. And why wouldn't they nip around to all the flying clubs on a Saturday and Sunday morning, the days which they're going to be really busy? It's kind of obvious that's what's going to happen. But if you're flying from a field of poo in the middle of nowhere at obscure times of the day, why would you even bother? And that's the brutal reality. So the target number is 65,000. They are going to drop and because of the barriers to entry, the extra steps which are having to be, and because there's money involved as well, is that it's going to get reduced down to maybe 40,000. So they're not 20,000 out, they're 70,000 out minimum. Okay, so we mentioned they're about to shoot themselves in the foot, and that's the reason. Is that, again, I'll put links to all these documents in the video description so you can go and read them, and we will get to the positive side, the actions which you can take in just a few moments' time. So keep in the back of the mind, 170,000 registrations is what they're aiming for over, I think it was 18 months or so. Now, this is where they're basically hosing all the money up the wall, and they really are. Okay, you'll have to take this from me as a software developer. They are pissing money up the wall, left, right, and centre. So this is where it gets all a little bit vague. Fixed costs such as IT service hosting, IT security package, and CAA's drone registration team members. Now, you need people to manage this, and people not cheap. So you need a team leader. They're going to be 35 grand a year. You need a couple of telephone support people. They're going to be anywhere from, say, 18 to 22k a year. You will lose quite a bit of money per annum just in a couple of members of staff. Okay, that's just a brutal reality, assuming they're UK based. Now, we also have software in there as well, and they're claiming $1 million for this. Now, IT service hosting and IT security package are terms which are kept particularly vague. They could mean absolutely anything, because you could claim an IT security package is using AWS, Amazon Web Services, because that is secure. You put stuff behind firewalls. Oh. Anyway, could chat about those all day. Drone registration, safety and registration requirement. Now, that's only £300,000, which they've dedicated to marketing. Okay, so we've already identified that they're 20,000 out, and then just by brutal reality, there'll be another 25 out, thousand, and this is 1,000 people out from their targets anyway, and of course that's doubled up too. And they've got this tiny little amount, the smallest amount which they've assigned is to marketing, and that's the thing, that's the one which should. Brutal reality needs the biggest budget of them all, is for greater awareness, and they've given it the smallest budget. Anyway, moving on. Variable cost linked to user volumes, blah, 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 support initial setup phase is £550,000. These numbers are just obscene. Absolutely obscene. And the best one of them all, and this is where the prices are going to get really expensive, ongoing upgrade of drone registration service to provide additional functionality and service improvements as described in paragraph 2.2. Basically £1 million, £950,000. Absolutely ridiculous. Now, I can tell you, as a software developer, what they're trying to create is absolutely piss easy. There's no other words for it. It's a straightforward user registration form and login system. So you need a username, a password, forgot password, login page, a couple of other pages as well. You need their address, maybe an alternative address, because they mentioned there's some credit checks in there as well. Payment processing, for some magical reason in their heads, they have it as a separate expense. Don't know why. You could very easily set it up for card processor with a bank for not a lot of money per month, like 65 quid, 70 quid. Or you could use a payment processor like PayPal, for example. And those integrations are just off the shelf, you know. So we're only talking about a week's worth of work. There is a little complexity in their specifications, which was around credit checking or history checking. That's fair enough. That's not off-the-shelf stuff per se, and there'll be some custom code around that. But no way in a blue monkeys £1 million worth. This really is a retirement project for whatever software company has been and picked up this project from the CAA. They are just going, way, throwing cash everywhere. It's a retirement. It's a sunset project for that software company, because they're going to blow £1 million, £1 million into software. And that's not even amusing, because who pays for it? You pay for it. That's the stark reality. They have so messed up their numbers and have been so naive in what their numbers are, what they've got their numbers on, and that's the brutal reality. We've just seen the raw numbers there, and remember they've got the extra barrier to entry, which will reduce the number of people coming in. Is that £16.50 because they've screwed up so much, is going to be 30 quid within 2 years, maybe even 40 quid. To be honest, if I was in the CAA's position, I'd be looking at the 82 quid as a reference, as a hobby, because the fishing license is the nearest sensible relationship which they've got to another license. So that's what they're thinking. And again, these numbers are basically set up for them to fail, and that was my original point. So I'm keeping a very close eye on time. We're 10 minutes in, and we'll move on. Right. My personal view of this is that the BMFA seemed really surprised they weren't involved. Well, no shit, Sherlock. They've not, in their own words, they've not spoken to it. The CAA have not been responding to the BMFA since in 2019, so far this year, and we're now in May. That would have been writing on the wall. Hello, we're not working with you, we're just blanking you. Kind of alarm bells going off in your head. So the BMFA have been caught with their pants down because the CAA, that document was not created overnight. That has probably already gone out to tender. There's software companies being involved in this right now and third parties to get the wheels rolling on this. So if it goes through, then it will happen very quickly. I'm sure there'll be some minor amendments. And the reality is that this will go through. No matter what the BMFA say or somebody else says, it will go through. And the reason why it will go through, and it comes back to that ESA update, which we had, was the EASA update, which we had like a year or 2 years ago. You had all this long bump, all this load of rubbish, and the last piece was the most important piece, which is that we expect this industry to grow by X% and to be worth X billion over the next 10 to 15 to 20 years. That's what it all boils down to, and the CAA wants some of that cash, okay? So what can you do? Now, the BMFA have put this lovely document together. It's quite long and tedious, to be frankly honest. Also, the FPV UK have also been put together their own document as well. I'll put links to these different things in here. There are templates which you can copy and paste and send off to your local MP and the head of the CAA, and then there was another one as well, which I've frankly forgotten. But let's put this into reality, this is going to go ahead for all the reasons which I mentioned. I don't like that. I'm pretty damn sure you don't like that either. But let's be realistic here. There's a boatload of cash which is involved in this. They have grossly overestimated their numbers. That can only mean one thing, is that if you are part of this and are going to end up paying this fee for a license to fly a model, which is actually they're determining as a drone. I don't actually fly drones. I fly model aircraft. There's a big argument to be made there. Anyway, getting to my point is that their numbers are so screwed up. That £16.50 in absolutely next to no time is going to be 30 quid plus. And over the next 2 to 3 years, they're in the process of shooting themselves for failure, right in both feet right now, because their numbers are so wrong and they are wasting so much money unnecessarily. And it's great. It's so obvious they're wasting money. It's unreal. For those details, those reasons which you mentioned a few minutes ago. The marketing budget's too small, grossly overspending on software, grossly overspending everywhere. To be perfectly honest, £2.8 million they're expecting this project to come in at. Wow, that really is a sunset project for that software company, which is basically going to build them a login system with a payment processor and one little bit of complexity on the side. I kid you not. The basic requirements which they got for the first part, I would personally, I'm a software developer, I would complete that in a week. Okay, obviously there's due diligence because it's dealing with a government. You have to go through certain hoops. Oh, and there's some real pain in the ass. It doesn't happen in a week. It would take much longer. You have to go through many other hoops. So I've got friends who have worked with government projects before. It's not as simple as that. There is a long, tedious process which goes with it, which is good, I hasten to add. But it genuinely is that software company's sunset project. They don't have to work again after they've done that one because they'll have them on a great big retainer to make sure that they do minor updates to their software. Anyway, that's my point of interest, which is software, and that's why I can see that this is grossly overpriced for what it is, and they've got all their budgets completely wrong set up. And that's just my humble opinion. You can have a look at the numbers. You can make your own decision on there. Will I be paying £16.50 to fly a model aircraft? Because remember, I don't fly drones. I'm not a multi-rotor guy. Probably, I'll leave that to your own discretion. I'm sure there will be people out there which will bitch and moan, say, I'm not paying £16.50, oh, blah, 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 and then go on and pay it. Okay? Straightforward risk management for you as a model aircraft flyer, which is that, are you flying in a field of poo in the middle of nowhere at obscure times of the day? If the answer is yes, do you really need this other expense to keep someone else in business? The answer is probably not. And on that note, like I said, I'll leave links to all these different parts in the video description. I think I've got my opinion across quite clearly. On that note, from myself, Matt, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this episode. I wish it was more of a cheerier topic which we were covering, because let's face it, they really have totally, nearly said the F word, screwed up. The numbers are so wrong. They have set themselves up for failure, and the people who will get charged for their failure and their failings is unfortunately us as RC hobbyists, and that sucks nuts. I'm off. Happy flying. Cheerios.